Like many of you, I'm fascinated about the history of different companies, how they got started, usually in a garage or a wood shop or something, and then they develop into something much larger. And today I'm in Wendlingen at the Festool headquarters, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by Barbara, who's actually the granddaughter of one of the original founders of Festool, and who is the current chairwoman of the board. So thanks for taking time to talk to us today and answer all my questions.
Thank you for being here, Dusty. We're super happy about that.
So my first questions actually have to do about the very beginning of the company. And I'm interested to know when it started, why it started, and how it started.
Thanks for taking the interest in our company. It means a lot to me. And my grandfather, seen in this picture, founded a company together with a business partner like almost 100 years ago in 1925.
Wow.
So the company actually started as a repair business, and my grandfather and his colleagues learned a lot about tools, what's good, what's bad, and how they can do better things. So one of the first tools they did were these chainsaws, and they made them for the lumberjacks because it was a very tough job with only hand tools. So they made these tools to speed up the process and make it easier.
Very good. And I understand, like on these ones, for example, the motors used to shut off because of the carburetors at the time. So they actually came up with a really neat invention that allowed you to turn the chain to the side, which I think is a cool story about how Festool started and recognized problems with certain tools and then came up with really innovative solutions to those tools.
Yeah, I think from the very beginning for my granddad it was important to get the better solution.
And so I've been lucky enough to come and spend time in this museum, which I think is fascinating that you guys have built. And I noticed that there's kind of different years or different epochs for the tool creation that you guys went through.
So yeah, in the beginning we had this different kind of tools they built. And then World War II changed everything, and after World War II we had this stationary bigger machinery that helped to rebuild Germany, making window frames and stuff like that.
Yeah, and a lot of these machines are nothing like what Festool has right now, which I think will surprise a lot of people. But obviously during the period after World War II, there was doors and windows and houses and bridges to make. And for me, it's really fascinating to see a lot of these larger machines. Partly because I just like bigger machines, but you can see all the same engineering and problem solving that went into these ones that now go into some of the modern ones.
Yeah, right. So after the period with the large tools, we focused more and more on smaller tools, and we were able to make them smaller, which is a lot about mobility. So you could take the tool to the workpiece and not the other way around.
Right.
And then there was a lot of focus on precision, on safety, on this whole system fit.
Mm-hmm. So now it seems like the tools are getting much smaller and starting to look like the ones that we now recognize. You can see some of these bigger saws here. They were big largely because the electric motors were that size. Yeah. And then over time, motors got more efficient, and it seems like you guys started to focus on extreme precision, micro-adjustability, safety, and mobility. And then we can see now the development of all these tools and how the different iterations throughout the years became much more smaller, much more compact, and much more efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to see the company and the tools and how it develops over time to the ones that we have right now. Now we got something really interesting here that's on the outside of your factory. It's this arch. Can you tell me about this?
Yeah, this arch was built with the first building, like the second building of the company, but the first one that was especially built for the company. Yeah. So my grandfather built it, big thing, in 1939.
Wow, and that's his name right up there, G. Stoll.
Exactly.
And this was the arch that all the workers would walk through on the way to the factory.
Every morning, out every night. So there's a lot of tradition in this piece of stone.
And then when you guys moved to this location, you decided to take it down and bring it over here to commemorate the historicity of it.
I heard this story just 2 weeks ago that two workers had the idea, and they went to my father and said, we need to do this, and my dad said, yes, let's do this.
Wow.
So that was a beautiful story I just heard very recently.
Great idea.
Yeah.
And I know we're headed to your office real quick, but can you tell me about this right here?
Yeah, so this is very dear to us. There's a saying of my grandfather, and he said, it's not my work alone, it's the work of many hands. And especially my mother liked this a lot, so she found an artist that did this sphere. So here's the big one, and in every subsidiary we have small spheres just like that.
Oh, cool.
And it's a symbol of we work together.
Yeah, so it's just all the hands and a big globe and working together. And the idea initially came from your dad, you say, or your granddad?
Your granddad, the founder.
Very good, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, Barbara, we're coming into the office building and we're going up to your office, and I want to ask you some questions about you and how you got involved with the company and the different things that you've done throughout the years.
Yes, let's do that.
So I'd love to know more about how you got involved with the company. Obviously, you knew about Festool since you were young because your grandfather owned the company. But at what stage did you start getting involved with or do woodworking and things like that?
I can't really remember. it was more like gliding into it over the time. So it started as a kid. I did woodwork with my dad, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And then it kind of went from there. So this is how I became interested in woodworking. And after that, I studied woodworking.
In university, you studied woodworking?
It was an apprenticeship in a wood workshop. How we do it in Germany, like
How
two and a half years.
2.5 years.
Yeah, and you were at school for some time, but most of the time you were at the workshop.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then what did you do?
And after that, I continued with studying business.
Oh. Actually, do you know what? I understand that this table, you built this one, right?
Yes, it was a beautiful project.
This was like a school project, or which one?
No,
you did in there?
I built it later on because someone told me that as I know how to do it, I really should have a self-made piece in my office, and he was right. So.
What kind of wood is this?
This is elm, and
Okay.
it's a very special kind of elm. And I'm pretty proud about those self-made walnut dominoes. Which is
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, it looks like there's dominoes down here.
Nice detail, yeah.
So you used the domino cutter to cut the mortise, but
Yeah.
you made the walnut dominoes
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
And that's walnut.
That's one.
And you have walnut glasses on. You say it's your favorite one.
Favorite wood, yeah, yeah.